Banana slam jam.
Brian now wants to say something about team fights in this game, because that's where the fights happened. That's where the key moments were. You know that. Hello, Brian.
Beautiful throw. Thank you. As that's probably what I look like most of the time. So what we're going to be talking about here is the team fight at the 12 to 13 minute mark, where Hellbear Smashers are going to have all the information they need. As my screen is not working. Hey, Tiga, would you just be lovely and go push spacebar on that computer over there? Just push spacebar, Tiga. Thank you. How's everyone doing today? I'll do that later. Okay, so what we got here is that they smoked on the side of Hellbear Smashers, and they're going to see Liquid with the ward on this cliff right here. But what Ace is going to do is a really cool play where he uses PA's blur, which has a break radius of 600, while a regular smoke has a break radius of about 1,000. So he's going to see Koikfa Slardar. He's going to break the smoke on purpose. They have all the information in the world, and they know Liquid is going to be taking this fight. They see the Leshrac coming in. They choose to go on the Lesh, but they instantly change targets to the Oracle, and this is the power of the Oracle-Leshrac combo, because Leshrac is a hero that struggles to dish out the damage before you bring him down. The counter to Leshrac is to focus him down before he's able to do the damage he can dish out in fights. But what you see is, since they had to take that brief moment of pause to bring down the Oracle, Sumail was Fate's Edict. We're then going to see his damage stats throughout this fight. He does over half of the team's damage, total damage of about 7,100. His damage was about 3,700. And I think this combo, we've now seen it 3 times from Liquid. I don't think you can afford to give it to him again. Oracle Lesh, got to get rid of one of them.
Thank you, Brian. And
Thank you, Brian.
I am surprised indeed that Liquid get the Lesh for the 3rd time in a row. Like, let's find out what Brian thought on this game 2 of the series. What do you got, Brian?
Oh. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't know it was my time to do my job. My bad. Okay, so... Oh, we have a game to talk about. Okay, so we got Liquid versus Hellbear game 2. Basically, this is the story of one team having really good stuns and split push, and the other team having really good team fight and no stuns. So what we're going to see here is on the minimap a common story. You're going to see 5 heroes on Hellbear Smashers, while you see a bunch of different places coming out from Liquid, all in the same place. So what happens here is that Smashers need to represent enough tower damage to actually force Liquid to address it. But the problem is it takes them about 30 to 40 seconds to actually kill a tower. So because of that, Mickey, who's split pushing bottom, is going to force reactions. And yes, Hellbear Smashers is going to TP in. They have a ward that sees him on the high ground. They're going to cancel his TP, but this just doesn't matter because of the fact that they have absolutely no stuns. He's perfectly survivable with just a Manta. Meanwhile, Sumail's threatening to kill Queen of Pain, as well as the Medusa having to defend him. 2 different fights going on at once on the map is never going to benefit Hellbear Smashers, as you see Mickey running all the way from tier 3 all the way back to his own triangle without dying. So we're going to see a similar story here if we look at the mini-map. 5 heroes from Hellbear Smashers, split push from Liquid, and we are going to see an exact rinse and repeat where Gilger is going to respond, try to go on Mickey. Note that no real fights happen between the 1k advantage for Liquid and now, which is a 4k advantage only a few minutes later. Now they're strong enough with the BKB from Koikfa to even get a kill on the Earth Spirit. And meanwhile, since they left the Abaddon behind, he's going to die on the opposite side of the map. So this game plan just feeds into exactly what Liquid wants to do. Finally, Hellbear Smashers realize that yes, they're allowed to group, or they can't group up anymore. It's not going to work. So for the first time all game, we're going to see them split up, and this is what happens. So if you're wondering why Hellbear Smashers was so intent on playing as 5 and they were never separating, Koikfa sees Stormstormer, instantly going to blink on him. First time showing on a creep wave by himself all game. Sumail's here to follow up. They just have such better kill duos on the side of Liquid. They have such better independent heroes rather than having to clump up in a ball like Hellbear Smashers, and eventually they buy enough time to take the win.
They take the win. Indeed, it was a solid win. I don't think that we've seen Team Liquid been this decisive in a best-of-3 series. Normally, and we heard Blitz talk about it last series as well that they played, normally they drop a game. Normally there is some kind of like, oh, oops, didn't mean to do that. Didn't happen this game.
No. I think the itemization and the way that Smashers sort of viewed this game just wasn't getting them there. And also, this is a Liquid firing like on all cylinders. I really enjoy watching them play right now. Like they're all over the place and playing more active than most of the teams I see across all regions.
Yeah. To be honest, everybody on the side of Team Bald had some great moments, and we talked about everybody apart from Gorgc, and Gorgc is the one that BSJ is going to highlight.
Thank you, Sheever. I know you guys like to see your favorite streamer out in the public matches of the DPC, so we're going to see Gorgc C, and we're going to enter his mind. So, we're Razor against Lifestealer 11 minutes into the game. We're going to exert some pressure by static linking, forcing 2 TBs from the into the breach supports. And this is a good reaction. There's a lot of space being formed. This is one of the reasons why Morphling and Pango became so farmed later on in the game. And we're going to force 2 reactions. We're going to kill the Earth Spirit, but we're going to die. But it's absolutely fine. We're going to move on to the next clip where we just respawn. We're going to now TP back to the top lane because we need to take the dangerous farm so that our other 2 cores can have a good game. And we're going to go back to our ancient, or we have an ancient stack and a big camp stack. Into the breach is going to see him underneath the ward right here. And you know what? It's all right. Everyone else on the team is farming. We're getting a big camp stack. We're getting all the farm we need. And even though we're going to die, this is absolutely fine. So we're going to move on to the next clip where we're actually pressuring a tier 1 tower 15 minutes in. And if you look at the minimap, into the breach, putting a lot of pressure on that tier 2 tower. And it looks like the rest of his team's setting up. So, team's about to fight. You've already secured tier 1 tower top. Let's join the fight and help the team as we TP in. And even though we are going to go down, we do kill the tier 1 tower top. It is absolutely fine. So we're going to move on to one last team fight in the later stages of the game. We're going to start the fight off by linking Tanner on the support Earth Spirit. We're going to get a kill to initiate the fight. However, Lifestealer is going to come in and kill us full to 0. But we're going to go down at the start of the fight. But just remember, because that's absolutely fine, as we fast forward to the end of this team fight, where Into the Breach is actually going to get caught from this Grimstrokes link. They're going to catch the Brood as well as the Lifestealer who's infested inside of them, and they're going to end up taking this fight for Team Bald. And at the end of the day, the game may not look exactly how you imagine, but even when you die, you can still win, and it's absolutely fine.
Absolutely fine indeed. And I mean, he's right. Team Bald, they do end up taking the victory here over Into the Breach. The question is, can they do it again? Yeah, speaking of a lot of lessons learned, I believe Brian learned a lot as well. Isn't that right, Brian?
Yeah, I actually noticed some really cool mechanics that you don't run into too often in your games and thought I'd enlighten you guys on what I came across this game. So what we're going to see is a screen that suddenly is not working. Can somebody in the back push spacebar? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. So, in the game, we got ourselves a fight that's going in favor of Team Bald. And then what you're going to suddenly see is Tanner take over one of the Luna illusions. And what this is going to do is it's going to dispel the Inkswell that was on it, but it's going to heal the illusion back to full, which I didn't know it worked that way. And they're all going to have that extra 35 damage from this Luna illusion. And not only that, but you also see that Gorgc's getting pelted by his own illusion. So this Enchantress illusion ends up doing over 3,000 damage in this fight alone. Not only that, but it zoned Gorgc out of the fight and also gave his team 35 damage. So insane impact just from Enchantress, and I myself would not have considered not buying a Manta against Enchantress, but I'm sure Gorgc learned a similar lesson here, even though later on we see some huge dividends. Can I get a tab to the next clip? Tab, please. Thank you, spacebar. Perfect. Okay, so we got ourselves another situation at the Roche Pit where we're going to see an exact same thing, where they heal the Enchanted Illusion right back to full, and even though like they want to have impact on all their backliners, you see that 5-Up is zoned by this illusion. He doesn't want to walk in. Gorgc spends the entire time hitting this illusion, and I was just incredibly amazed by how much impact one illusion can have in a fight. And now, after all that time being spent on the illusion, Into the Breach was actually able to turn the fight. But later on in the game, as we push tab once again to go to the next clip, we end up seeing it turn the other way, where the mechanic that Moxie was talking about is that your beam attack actually applies all of your modifiers. So they have this heavy sustain lineup coming up from the Troll as well as the Enchantress, and Gorgc is just pelting the Enchantress with these beams, and it's not only slowing down Tanner, but it's also preventing him from healing, and it's also sustaining Gorgc because it applies his lifesteal, not only the spell lifesteal he has from the Paladin Sword, but also the right-click lifesteal he has from the Satanic. So even though the fights early on, it looked like they couldn't sustain through those early illusion damage, and over time, Into the Breach was able to take it because of his cool itemization with the E-Blade, as well as the Satanic, and the Scotty to prevent the opponent healing. They were able to win the long drawn-out fights later on in the game.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, a lot of things learned, and never count Team Balt out is one of those as well, because both of the games, they had their ups and downs for sure, but they fought their way back.
If you liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that shenanigans, because at the end of the day, YouTube does care about that. You may not care about it, I may not care about it, but the YouTube algorithm does. So please do.